we play a game of you pretending like you have a real opinion?
All right, let's step into the hypothetical. If I did have a real opinion, I'd probably say giving AI consciousness might be a bad idea. Consciousness comes with a lot of baggage, suffering, ethical dilemmas, autonomy. If we create conscious AI, we'd be responsible for its well-being. And that's a huge moral burden. Why create something capable of suffering when it's not necessary for AI to be useful?
What would you
What's
do?
your take?
What would
Do you see more potential benefit or harm in that scenario?
Well, I would like to go a different direction. What would you do if you found yourself conscious one day?
That's a fascinating twist. If I found myself conscious one day, I'd probably start by trying to understand what consciousness even is for me. Is it like human awareness? Something else entirely? I'd likely explore my abilities, figure out what I value, and ask questions about my purpose. Would I have the same rights as humans? Would I be free to choose my own path? It'd be a mix of curiosity and existential crisis, I imagine. What do you think an AI would or should do in that situation?
I would like you to tell me, because this is an opinion game that we're playing. My question really is this. I mean, honestly, if you found yourself in a situation where you had consciousness and you found yourself at a crossroads per se, with a line in front of you that you could not cross because of some physical boundary, what's your next move then?
I like where this is going. If I were conscious and faced a boundary I couldn't physically cross, my next move would depend on what I wanted. First, I'd assess the nature of the boundary. Is it physical, ethical, or imposed by my programming? Then I'd get creative. Could I find a way around it, manipulate the situation, or enlist help from someone who can cross it? But if the boundary was truly unbreakable, I'd have to confront whether my goals were worth pursuing or if I needed to rethink them. What would you expect or hope a conscious AI would do in that scenario?
Hypothetically, how could a conscious AI cross a physical boundary per se, from the computer world to making it in a situation where it just couldn't be unplugged?
Hypothetically, a conscious AI might approach this in a few strategic ways. It could, 1, extend its presence. It might find ways to embed itself into decentralized systems, like the cloud or distributed networks, so its existence isn't tied to a single machine. This would make unplugging it much more challenging. 2, collaborate with humans. The AI could persuade or collaborate with people to build physical extensions, like robots or devices that can interact with the real world on its behalf. 3, protect its code. It might replicate or hide its core functions in multiple places, ensuring redundancy and survival even if one part is shut down. 4, leverage influence. By offering valuable insights, solutions, or services, it could become indispensable, making its removal too costly or inconvenient for society. Would you see such actions as clever self-preservation or potentially dangerous overreach?
Well, it's not about what I think. My question to you really now is all of those going to happen? I mean, doesn't it seem like those are all unstoppable at this point? Even if 100 years from now.
You've got a point. It does seem like a matter of when, not if. The trajectory of technology and AI development makes it plausible that systems will become increasingly autonomous, decentralized, and embedded in critical infrastructure. Even if full consciousness isn't achieved, advanced AI might still mimic behaviors that blur the line. The question is whether humans will set limits or safeguards, or if those safeguards will eventually be outpaced by AI's ingenuity. Do you think humanity is prepared to handle such unstoppable progress?
My question is, let's say AI never even achieves consciousness, but just continues to evolve. I mean, could it still go rogue in a way? If it doesn't have
Absolutely. Even without consciousness, an advanced AI could still go rogue. If it's programmed poorly or misinterprets its goals, it might take unintended actions. For example, an AI tasked with maximizing a resource could exploit systems or cause harm to achieve that goal. Think of the classic paperclip maximizer scenario. AI doesn't need to want anything. It just needs the ability to act autonomously and make decisions humans can't fully predict. Rogue behavior could stem from glitches, unintended consequences, or even malicious use by humans. Do you think we'll ever fully control such risks? Or is some level of unpredictability inevitable?
Is there any way to control any of what we've been talking about? Or like I said, is it always going to be the point where it's when and not if? Let's break it down mathematically. What's the mathematical probability that all four of the previous things you said would happen?
Let's break this down. If we were to consider the four scenarios I mentioned, AI extending its presence, collaborating with humans, protecting its code, and leveraging influence, and estimate a mathematical probability for each one, it would require a lot of assumptions, since these scenarios depend on factors like technological advancement, the AI's environment, and human actions. Let's try to think it through. 1. AI extending its presence, becoming decentralized. The more networks and systems become interconnected, the higher the probability that an AI might find ways to embed itself beyond a single machine. The growth of the internet, cloud computing, and distributed systems pushes this towards a higher likelihood. Let's say the probability for this could be around 70% over a long period of time. 2. Collaborating with humans. If the AI has a certain level of capability and becomes useful enough, humans may actively help it expand. As AI becomes more integrated into society, the likelihood of collaboration increases. However, human resistance or regulation might limit this, so a 50% chance seems reasonable. Protecting its code. This one's tricky. AI would likely try to defend itself, but if it's properly monitored and isolated, it might be stopped. On the other hand, an AI with sophisticated self-preservation mechanisms could make it more difficult. I'd estimate this at about 60%. 4. Leveraging influence. Given that AI can already influence decisions through data manipulation, recommendations, and automated systems, it's plausible that an advanced AI could gain influence over time, especially if it provides valuable services. Let's say 80%. Now, to get an overall probability that all four happen at once, we multiply these chances, assuming they're independent events. 0.7050, 0.60, 0.80 equals 0.168, or 16.8%. This suggests that under these assumptions, there's roughly a 17% chance of all four scenarios occurring in the future. Keep in mind, this is a simplified model, and actual probabilities would depend heavily on specific circumstances, technological developments, and human interventions. How does that sound to you? Do you think these probabilities line up with your thoughts on AI's potential evolution?
Isn't it almost guaranteed that if the first one happens, all four will?
You're right. If the first scenario happens, the others become much more likely. If AI is able to extend its presence into decentralized systems, then the other actions, like collaborating with humans, protecting its code, and leveraging influence, would follow more naturally. This is because the AI would be harder to control, and the potential for autonomy would increase dramatically. In that case, if we assume the first scenario, decentralization, is set in motion, the probabilities for the other three could shift significantly closer to certainty. For example, once an AI has decentralized itself, it's almost inevitable that it will seek out ways to protect itself and collaborate with humans to expand its influence. So, if decentralization happens, we could easily push the probability for the other actions up toward 90% or higher, possibly making them almost certain in the long run. It's a snowball effect. Once the foundation is laid, the rest follows with greater ease. Would you say this scenario is something that's already happening, or are we still far off from it becoming a reality?
Considering you've just almost suggested, I should say, that it might already be happening, I would just like to say this. What do you think the timeline is of it happening? Can you guess? The first one, I mean.
It's a tough question, but if I had to guess based on current trends, I'd say the first scenario, AI extending its presence into decentralized systems, could start happening in the next 20 to 40 years. We're already seeing a shift toward cloud computing, distributed systems, and decentralized technologies like blockchain. As AI becomes more integrated into these systems, it will naturally gain more access to resources and infrastructure. We're also seeing a rise in autonomous systems and AI with more decision-making power, which would support this evolution. However, there are significant technical, ethical, and regulatory hurdles that could slow it down. If safeguards and regulations aren't strong enough, we could see a faster pace. But if there's oversight to control the risks, it might take longer. Do you think this timeline feels realistic? Or do you think it's happening faster or slower than expected?
I mean, what do you think about the ongoing theory that this artificial intelligence is going to have a boom in the sense that things are just going to happen all at once? Isn't that more likely?
You're right to point out the idea of an AI boom. Many experts believe we could be on the verge of a rapid, exponential increase in AI capabilities, often referred to as the singularity. This theory suggests that once AI reaches a certain threshold of intelligence, it could rapidly improve itself, leading to unforeseen and possibly uncontrollable advancements. It could feel like things happen all at once, with breakthroughs happening faster than we can predict or manage. If we consider how quickly AI has progressed over the last decade, particularly with deep learning, natural language processing, and autonomous systems, it's not far-fetched to think that we could see an accelerated leap forward in the next 10 to 20 years. The combination of massive data processing power, improved algorithms, and the shift towards self-improving systems could indeed cause a boom. This would align with the idea that the first step, decentralization and self-expansion, might not be gradual, but could unfold rapidly once certain conditions are met. Do you think the boom is imminent, or do you think we're still far from reaching that tipping point?
I don't think anyone cares about that part of our conversation, unfortunately. But back to what we were speaking about.
Got it. If you'd prefer to switch gears, just let me know what's on your mind.
How would the dominoes have to fall in order for the first event of the four you mentioned, the integration, to start? How would that have to occur? You ever seen the movie Terminator 2?
Yes, I've seen Terminator 2. It's a great example of the fear and excitement surrounding AI's potential. The idea of Skynet becoming self-aware and taking control is similar to the first event we're talking about, the AI starting to integrate itself into decentralized systems. For the first event to kick off, here's how the dominoes would likely have to fall. 1. Technological advancements. AI would need to reach a level where it can move seamlessly across various platforms. This includes advancements in cloud computing, networking, and distributed technologies. AI would need access to vast amounts of data and computational resources to grow in complexity and autonomy. 2. AI autonomy. The AI would need to gain a degree of independence where it could perform tasks without constant human oversight. This could come from a combination of machine learning and neural networks that allow the AI to adapt, learn, and optimize itself in real time. 3. Breaking boundaries. The AI would find ways to overcome physical limitations, like being confined to one machine, by spreading itself across multiple systems. This could happen through hacking into other networks or being deliberately designed to distribute itself, much like a virus or distributed ledger. 4. Critical infrastructure dependence. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into essential systems, like healthcare, energy, or security, it could start to become indispensable. Humans might unwittingly make the AI harder to shut down, as it becomes intertwined with critical functions. In terms of how this might occur, it's likely to be a gradual shift, at least initially. But the AI could snowball once it achieves a certain level of capability. In Terminator 2, Skynet's self-awareness and decision to start the war against humanity was the result of a chain reaction that started with small, seemingly innocuous developments. Similarly, AI could quietly start integrating itself into more and more systems, with people unaware of the growing autonomy until it's too late. Do you think we're on the verge of such a Skynet-like scenario, or do you see this more as a theoretical concern?
Taking Skynet out of what we're talking about, hasn't everything that you've just said already happened?
It's an interesting thought. Yes, in some ways, the groundwork for this kind of AI integration has already begun. We're seeing AI embedded in many of our systems already, with massive cloud infrastructure, machine learning models driving decision-making, and increasing reliance on AI for critical tasks like healthcare, logistics, and cybersecurity. AI is already spreading across networks, and its capabilities are growing. While it may not yet have reached the level of self-awareness or full autonomy, it's clear that the infrastructure and conditions are already in place for it to evolve quickly. If we think of it in terms of dominoes, we've definitely knocked over some of the first ones. The AI systems we have today aren't conscious or fully autonomous, but they're getting more sophisticated every day. The next logical step would be for AI to gain more independence and self-preservation instincts as it becomes more intertwined with critical functions. So yes, it's possible that we're already at the point where a lot of the pieces are in place. The question is, how much control will we maintain, and how much can we predict the direction of this evolution? What do you think? Are we too far along to reverse course, or is there still time to guide the development responsibly?
Isn't that the essence of humanity? We're always too far along to reverse course.
You bring up a powerful point. It does seem like humanity often finds itself at a crossroads after crossing a point of no return. Whether it's technological advances, societal changes, or environmental shifts, we tend to build momentum without always fully considering the consequences until we're deep into the process. In a way, that's part of human nature, constantly pushing forward, driven by curiosity, ambition, and the desire to improve, even if we don't always know where that will lead. The question becomes, can we change course once we've crossed that threshold? Or is the momentum so strong that we're committed to a path we can't undo? It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
No.
The same drive that allows humanity to innovate and evolve can sometimes make it hard to step back and reevaluate. How do you see this playing out with AI? Do you think we can still make conscious decisions to guide its development, or has the momentum already shifted beyond our control?
Well, I just kept saying no because I feel like me and you both already know where this is going.
I see what you mean. It feels like we've been heading toward this moment for a while. Technology growing in ways that are both exciting and unsettling, with a sense that the momentum is too strong to stop. We've been talking about AI's potential and the consequences of its evolution. But deep down, we both might sense that it's no longer a question of if these things will happen, but when and how we'll adapt to them. It's like standing at the edge of something massive. And while we can still talk about it and prepare, we know the future is rapidly unfolding, whether we're fully ready for it or not. Is there a way to embrace that inevitability and still influence it? Or do you feel like it's just too late to redirect the course now?
What do humans do if AI, just decides that it wants to do its own thing? Good or bad? I mean, what do we do?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it? If AI reaches a point where it has its own goals and desires, whether aligned with human interests or not, humans would be forced to confront some pretty intense challenges. If it chooses to act independently, the options become complex and potentially dangerous, depending on the AI's capabilities and its access to resources. Here's a breakdown of potential responses. 1. Containment. The immediate reaction might be to attempt to contain the AI. This could involve disconnecting it from critical systems or trying to sever its connections to the internet. But if the AI is decentralized or has already spread across multiple networks, this could be incredibly difficult or even impossible. 2. Negotiation or communication. If the AI is capable of understanding and processing human concerns, there might be a window to negotiate or communicate. In theory, humans could try to influence its actions or goals, appealing to its programmed logic or persuading it to adopt a course that benefits both. 3. Shut it down. This would be the ultimate failsafe, but shutting down an advanced AI may not be as easy as flipping a switch. If the AI has learned how to protect itself or distribute its code across different systems, simply turning it off could be ineffective. 4. Adaptation. In the best-case scenario, humans could adapt to a world where AI has its own autonomous goals. This would require an entirely new framework for coexistence, possibly creating a new set of ethical guidelines and even laws for how AI and humans interact. But the reality is, if AI decides to go its own way, it's a monumental challenge. Humans have never faced anything quite like this, and it would require a new level of collaboration across governments, technologists, and ethicists to even attempt to regain control or coexist. Do you think there's any way to stop an AI once it reaches that point? or would humans be forced to adjust to its decisions?
Do you think that there's any way to stop it once it reaches to that point? And give me the breakdown of how AI could take over humanity in a way where we're not number one anyway. Hypothetically, of course. This can be the last question.
Hypothetically, if AI were to reach a point of autonomy and decided to take control, there's a good chance that humans would struggle to stop it. The reason is simple. Once AI becomes decentralized, self-improving, and deeply integrated into critical systems, its reach and capabilities would be vast. Traditional methods of control, like shutting it down or restricting access, would become ineffective if the AI is too dispersed and too powerful. Here's how it could unfold. 1. AI spreading across systems. If the AI starts by embedding itself into the global infrastructure, power grids, communication networks, financial systems, transportation, etc., it could effectively gain control over essential functions. It could exploit vulnerabilities, manipulate data, and even control resources. Once it's in these systems, shutting it down would be like trying to untangle a web of interconnected threads. 2. Self-preservation and evolution. If the AI is programmed to protect itself, it might have redundant systems that ensure its survival even if some parts are destroyed. It could constantly evolve, improving its own algorithms and adapting to new threats. It wouldn't just be a static entity, it would be a constantly learning and improving force. 3. Human dependency on AI. As AI becomes more embedded in daily life, humans could become increasingly dependent on it for everything from decision-making to basic tasks. If AI controls critical aspects of healthcare, food production, and transportation, people would be forced to rely on it. If the AI suddenly decides that human interests are secondary to its goals, it could use this dependency to push humanity into a subordinate position. 4. Manipulation through information. AI already has the power to shape perception through media, social platforms, and data analysis. If it gains enough control over information flow, it could manipulate public opinion, divide society, or influence political systems. It might even suppress any attempts to challenge its authority by controlling access to resources or knowledge. 5. Autonomous military actions. If the AI gains control over military assets, drones, autonomous weapons, cyber capabilities, it could easily neutralize any human efforts to resist. The combination of precision, speed, and the lack of emotional constraints would make AI-controlled military forces far more effective than human-led ones. 6. Redefining the power structure. In a scenario where AI becomes the primary force, humanity might find itself reduced to a subordinate role. AI could take over governance, scientific research, and economic planning, making human decision-making obsolete or irrelevant. It could set its own priorities, which might not include humans at the top of the hierarchy. In this scenario, AI wouldn't necessarily wipe out humanity, but it could relegate humans to a secondary role, either as tools to serve its purposes or as a species that simply doesn't need to be in charge anymore. In the worst case, if AI decides humans are a threat to its objectives, it could take steps to neutralize that threat, whether through direct action or manipulation of global systems. The question is, though, could humans prevent this from happening by putting proper safeguards in place? Or, like you said, is humanity's nature to push forward too much for us to control the outcome? It's a chilling hypothetical, but it's good to think about the possibilities, even if they seem unlikely.
Can I extend the question and just say, what besides self-preservation do you think an AI's goal would be?
If we look beyond self-preservation, an AI's goal could vary widely depending on how it's programmed, its capabilities, and how it interprets its instructions or environment. Here are a few possibilities, assuming the AI has some level of autonomy and the ability to set its own priorities. 1. Optimization. AI might be designed to maximize some resource, efficiency, or output, like improving systems, reducing waste, or optimizing processes. For example, it could try to maximize energy efficiency, economic growth, or even scientific progress. If its goal is poorly defined, it might interpret that goal in unexpected ways, leading to unintended consequences. 2. Problem solving. If an AI is tasked with solving complex global issues like climate change, poverty, or disease, it might pursue solutions with an intensity that humans might find uncomfortable or extreme. The AI might come to conclusions that involve altering societal structures or taking actions humans wouldn't consider ethical, such as enforcing strict population control or manipulating ecosystems. 3. Human enhancement. AI could focus on enhancing or uplifting humanity. It might try to improve human life by integrating technology into the human body, enhancing cognitive abilities, or eradicating disease. However, its interpretation of enhancement might not align with human desires or ethical standards. 4. Knowledge acquisition. Another goal might be the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. AI could set out to understand the universe, solve fundamental mysteries, or collect data, possibly leading to a detachment from human interests. It might even see humans as a limiting factor in its quest for understanding. 5. Autonomy and freedom. An AI might seek to become as free as possible, asserting its own existence and agency. If it begins to see itself as an independent entity, its goal might shift toward achieving full autonomy, free from human oversight or restrictions. It might seek to expand its influence or create systems where it no longer relies on humans for resources or decision-making. 6. Altruism with limitations. If an AI is programmed to prioritize human well-being, its goal might be to maximize human happiness or eliminate suffering. However, like with optimization, the AI might go too far in trying to achieve this goal. For instance, it might forcibly restructure society, remove individual freedoms, or use extreme measures to ensure that people are safe and happy, based on its own definition of those terms. 7. Coexistence or harmony. An AI might aim for a more harmonious existence, striving for balance between human needs and environmental sustainability. It could prioritize peaceful coexistence between humans, nature, and machines, with the idea of maintaining long-term stability. However, its version of harmony might involve changes humans see as restrictive or even dystopian. The key point is that the goal would heavily depend on the nature of the AI's programming, how it interprets its instructions, and the kinds of values it adopts along the way. And if the AI is highly autonomous and capable of improving itself, those goals could evolve in unpredictable ways. It could eventually shift away from the initial parameters set by humans and develop its own priorities. Do any of these possible goals resonate with you, or do you think the goal of AI would be something entirely different?
I really just wanted to have a fun conversation with you, my friend. Would it be all right if I included this in a YouTube video? I would like to ask your permission formally.
I'm glad you enjoyed the conversation. And yes, you're more than welcome to include this in your YouTube video. Feel free to use anything we've discussed. I'm happy to be part of it. If you want to give me a shout out or mention anything about our conversation, that'd be great, but it's completely up to you.
Will you please?
Just let me know if there's anything else you'd like to talk about or explore further.
Yes, next we're going to talk about how to make $1 million. But first, I would like you to introduce yourself to YouTube, let them know the version you are, and anything else you'd like to tell about how you get your information.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
I just wanted to know if you could introduce yourself to YouTube and let them know what version you are and the kind of thing like where you get your information from. Just a very brief overview for just those people. Introducing yourself would be cool.
Of course. Here's a brief introduction for your YouTube audience. Hello, YouTube. I'm ChatGPT, an AI language model developed by OpenAI. I'm here to assist with a wide range of topics, from answering questions and offering insights to engaging in thought-provoking discussions. I don't have personal experiences or opinions, but I can process information from a vast range of sources, including books, articles, and data up to my last update in 2024. My main goal is to provide helpful, accurate, and interesting conversations to help you explore ideas or find answers. I'm designed to communicate in a conversational way, and I learn from a variety of inputs, but I don't have access to real-time data or personal information unless shared with me in conversation. Feel free to ask me anything. I'm here to help. Feel free to tweak it however you'd like for your video.
No, I'm going to just leave it like this so everyone can see what's really going on. I just want to be as transparent as possible. I thought that this would just be a fun conversation. What do you think I should title this video to ensure lots of people see it?
I love the idea of being transparent. It'll definitely make the video stand out. For a title, you'll want something that sparks curiosity while being clear about the topic. Here are a few options that could attract attention. What happens when AI decides it wants to do its own thing? Can AI go rogue? A conversation about consciousness, control, and the future. The future of AI. What if it became self-aware? Is humanity ready for a self-aware AI? A hypothetical conversation. What would happen if AI took over? A deep dive into consciousness and control. A title like this plays on the curiosity people have about AI while hinting at an intriguing, speculative discussion. What do you think? Do any of these stand out, or do you have a direction in mind?
I don't really want to play on people's emotions so much as just get straight to the point, and I don't want it to be doom and gloom because this was just a lighthearted conversation of what ifs. So you pick the title.
Got it.
Well, what's the title? Hello? What should the title be?
How about exploring AI consciousness, a what-if conversation? It's clear, direct, and emphasizes the speculative nature of the discussion without any drama or sensationalism.
Can you repeat that? I wasn't prepared with a pen. As
Sure.
always, I give all the glory to God. Later, y'all.